walk me through. I know you're SEAL Team 6 and you're an advanced military and all that stuff, but what is going through your head after you fired the shot and you realize you just killed Osama Bin Laden?
Well, when it first went down, right before it happened, I was following one guy up a set of stairs, the last set of stairs to his bedroom, and I wasn't being brave. I was like, he's going to blow us up. I'm tired of thinking about it. Let's just go. And then when I turned the corner, it was just seeing him, rules of engagement, very high value target. He had about a second to convince me not to kill him. He didn't do it. He looked like he was maneuvering with his wife in front of him, so I shot him twice in the head and then once more. And then I moved his wife, Amal, out of the way, and I think their 2-year-old son, which is tough for any kid to see something that horrific. He had nothing to do with it. Then I stopped and kind of froze. It didn't freeze. I'm standing there, and other Navy SEALs came into the room, and one of the guys came up to me and said, "Hey, are you good?" And I said, "What do we do now?" And he said, "Now we find the computers. We do this every night, hundreds of times." And I said, "Yeah, you're right. I'm back." Wow. And he goes, "Yeah, you just killed Osama Bin Laden. Your life just changed. Now get to work." And then we got to work, and it was sort of sinking in there as we went through the third and second floor. Some of the offices, breaking the computers apart, taking hard drives, things like that. Intelligence, which turned out later in a book called The Bin Laden Papers, showed he was running the entire operation from there. Very good operational security. Sort of being hidden by part of the Pakistani intelligence services. And then it was just sort of, we wanted 32 minutes on target. We stayed till about 47 minutes, and we're like, okay, we have to leave now. And so we did have to call in a different helicopter full of more Army pilots, more Navy SEALs.
Was your helicopter shot down, Rob? How did it crash again? What happened to what happened to the original helicopter?
The way the first pilot explained it to me is that it was a few degrees Celsius warmer than we expected, and the fences were not built of the same chain link that we were training on. They were like the mud walls. And he said he couldn't hold a hover. A less experienced pilot would have tried to power it up and probably rolled it. But he, being one of the probably 4 best pilots in the Army, he knew that if he could spin the tail off to his left and pin it on the wall and hit the nose in the dirt, they might not flip, and everybody might live. He decided that in the quarter second, did that, saved everyone's life on board, and then they got out. I wasn't in the helicopter. I was in the other one. They dropped us off in a different spot than I was supposed to go to the rooftop, but our pilot saw them crash land. He knew we couldn't hover. He basically landed outside and said, "Get out." And we got out, and I remember putting my right foot on the ground, looking up at Bin Laden's house, thinking, I guess we start the war from here. We know what we're doing. Let's go.
Wow. Okay, but let me tell you, now I got to go into my biggest complaint, though, Rob, is you killed the biggest terrorist on earth. Why do we go throw him in the ocean? Why not? Why not go? Why did we do that, in your opinion, Rob? I know that wasn't your call.
No, it wasn't my idea. And I was even sort of because their BS excuse was they don't want a shrine, but if they knew anything about that brand, especially of Sunni Islam, that Al Qaeda is the reason they get so upset when you draw Muhammad is because you're not supposed to worship false idols, and worshiping at a grave would be a false idol. They wouldn't do it. And as far as throwing him into the ocean, I didn't see it happen, so I wasn't there. I saw him die. I saw him. We do have the pictures. I saw the DNA get taken. We handed him off to the Army when we brought Osama bin Laden back to Jalalabad airfield. Then we flew him up to Bagram airfield where the test went down, and then we handed him off to the Army, and they took him to the ship. But nowadays the way the government tells us stuff. Someone said, "How do you know he's not in a big tub of betadine at CIA?" I'm like, I actually don't know that.
Yeah, I know he could be in some, like tank, whatever cryogenic tank. He's probably frozen. But tell me this, so, Rob, now you're kind of talking about, I guess you have information now that we didn't have then. But when you look at the war in the Middle East and we didn't find the weapons of mass destruction, and you see all the veterans that come back with the PTSD, I'm sure you probably have some PTSD. I'm saying, do you think, I'm anti-war, full stop. Do you think that the fight in the Middle East had a clear objective other than kill Osama bin Laden?
No, there's a lot of people making decisions based on personal power and wealth. And I always tell the veterans who, I lost friends in both wars, and I tell them, the men and women, you can't think you didn't do the right thing. You fought for the person next to you. That's what went down, and you won every time you met the enemy. But looking back on it, like George W. Bush was mad at Saddam Hussein for attempting to assassinate George H.W. Bush, and so we concocted a war, and a lot of people were killed over a lot of years. And I fought in Iraq 2 tours. And I had a great time with my guys. I'm convinced I'd never killed the wrong person, but I have killed people before that I've thought, I killed this guy because he grabbed a gun, but he grabbed a gun because I'm in his house. And I'm in his house because our country brought us here. What if I would have met that dude in a cafe in Paris? Well, I wonder if he was funny. Stuff like that you think about. We're fighting because people who are in charge of the big picture send other people to fight, God forbid, not their family, obviously. The war in Afghanistan, I could nickel and dime that to death. We definitely should have gone there. We went to get Osama Bin Laden, even though they started to downplay that because, we all thought he was gone, except for a handful of people, really good people at CIA that found him. And we were supposed to go kill him. The withdrawal was obviously bad, but I mean, the buildup was bad. We shouldn't have surged there 2 or 3 times, whatever we did. There is a way to realize that you're not always the good guy. Imagine showing up in a valley where people have lived for 10,000 years, looking like a stormtrooper wearing Oakleys. They're probably not going to think you're not there to bring them democracy. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself